Mike, I have a question for you.
Okay.
What's that?
You're referring to this?
Yes.
This right? Okay. This is a preamp from Gilbert Yeung. Gilbert Yeung's a designer from Interkip with over 30 years of experience. And he makes, some of his stuff is not only great, he makes art. Hi-fi art. With all his experience. So for instance, this is a tube preamplifier with 3 inputs and an output, and he makes glorious sounding hi-fi. This is a volume control, 3 inputs here for music. This power supply for the preamplifier, feeding this amplifier that he also designed and painted, expressing his artistic side of his brain. Beautiful person, designer, very humble, and I can't approach any level of performance that he makes with other components in the industry because they're bound by, all manufacturing.
What are the shoes?
The shoes, these are amplifiers. Each of these was an artistic design by Gilbert, mono amplifier, so one for the left and one for the right. Do you know what a preamplifier is? No? Okay.
No.
A preamplifier is like on all the amplifiers, they have inputs and outputs. This one has 2 inputs, a 1 and a 2, simple. And it has a volume up and down. In the back I have the input jacks, like regular RCAs you plug in left and right. And this will make the music have enough gain and output to go to these amplifiers and continue on to the speakers. The beauty of these things is everything's very close together, so it's short wiring, and it also has a 1 op-amp transistor in it. A transistor, when you have one, it becomes very simple and perfect. If you have multiple parts, the parts can shift and drift as they work, because music is moving all the time, and they're not as beautiful and accurate and detailed as these are. The soundstage I get from the system will rival anything in the store. And this is just a little $8.99 preamplifier, handmade. That's all Gilbert stuff is hand-wired, no plugins, no fast assembly. And beautiful parts for the money, and you get wonderful hi-fi. I'll show you the back of the store.
Explain to me what all this is.
All of the display here is basically Gilbert Yeung products that he's built. This is very similar to the original Blue Circle amplifier product he made. This is a 110 watt amplifier per channel that's handmade. Every wire in here is done by hand by Gilbert with tons of experience. Great parts. Preamplifier as well, same type of thing. It's a Blue Circle, dual left and right. These are parts that are called shellcode volume controls. They're among the finest, most accurate volume controls in the world. So for instance, and there's every part in here is like that. He's tested for 30 years. So he makes great hi-fi, and this is about, I'd say around $6,000, this is around $8,000, fairly expensive hi-fi. We have great integrated amps from Gilbert that started as little as $4,500, so I asked Gilbert one day, because that's a lot of money for people, do you have anywhere, is there any way you can make a less expensive product that people can afford that's to the levels of performance that all this great stuff is, because this is like achieving your audio dreams for pennies. And he said, yes, if you let me use old cases. These are abandoned cases from receivers that have broken. Like this, it was a Sony, that was a Pioneer, and that was a Yamaha. And each of these were pretty much gutted by Gilbert and turned into abstract art that he makes. Inside of these are all new components, brand new amplifiers, huge transformers, 340 volt amps and larger, toroidal transformers, on-off switches, 1, 2, 3 inputs, and a volume control. With the parts used, pretty much perfection in design. They sound as good as all the super expensive hi-fis do, but it allows beginners, Ryan, to get a nice stereo. So for instance, that's $1,500 Canadian, and you could spend $3,000 or $4,000 on any product in the industry, and you'd pale in comparison. It's literally true. This is about 25 watts per channel. This one's around 40 watts per channel. The Pioneer. This one's also 1,500, and this one's about 50 watts per channel. It's a Yamaha. And it's a little more elaborate in preamplifier. All of these we can upgrade with capacitor banks that we add into the cap stage, which is the signal stage. We add energy to it. So all the parts, like say you had 100 lights on a dimmer and you're turning them up and down, well, if you gave it 100 times or 1,000 times the energy, those lights would respond pretty accurately and fast to that dimmer. It's motion. It's sort of a hypothetical of music, which is moving. So all the parts are energized and are faster and hold on to signal better and don't decay as fast. And at the end, you stand back and you get something that makes you tap your feet and love the music. Great sound stages from all of them, even at a modest cost. Now, you can't do these in production. He's just kind enough to make them for all our beginners. And we're all blessed to deal with Gilbert.